Okay, so what this is representing is our skin model. So if someone took a chunk of skin here and then pulled it out and then we put it up on under a microscope and blow it up, this is everything that we could possibly see. Okay, so there are three major layers of the skin: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. The hypodermis is also known as the subcutaneous layer. The subcutaneous layer has adipose. So on this model, the adipose is in yellow. And you'll see the dermis has a lot of stuff going on. And that is technically the live part of the skin. This is the stuff that is actually called vascular because it contains a blood supply. So when you bleed, until you pierce the epidermis to get to the dermis, there is no blood happening or bleeding happening. So that also tells you the epidermis is always migrating, or cells migrating to the top or the surface, and this is all dead skin. So technically we all see dead people.
All the time.
All the time. So I'm going to go over the layers of the epidermis, and then we'll talk about some of the prominent structures that we're visualizing in the dermis itself. Okay? So these are representing the hair follicles that you can see here, and this very superficial layer. So there are 5 layers of the epidermis in only the palms and soles. So they have this clear extra layer that when you were little, you put pins in there, and then you could do one of these numbers and say, hey, right? So that is the extra layer on the palms and soles. Everywhere else, there's 4 layers, okay? So the very bottom layer, layer 1, is known as stratum basale. Stratum means layer, basal means bottom or basement. Then we have stratum spinosum, and those are a little more pointy. We have a very enlarged microscopic slide picture in your lab manual that you want to map this out with. And then we have stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, which is that clear layer, and then stratum corneum. So when you go get a pedicure and you get your corns removed, they were not labeled for the vegetable. They are named after this layer called the corneum layer. Okay, so now let's get into the dermis, which is the live part, where it has all these blood vessels. So the red and blue